And welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. I wanted to get a video out because it feels like it's been forever since I put one out, but it feels like it's probably just a few days. But this is what happens when you get to travel season. And I just got back from Oklahoma City, where Patrick, Divi Daddy, and I were out there with Justin from Viva Capital and CryptoConfidential. And we were out there supporting one of our affiliates and one of our good friends, LitecoinLeader. And I haven't been doing many shows because when I go on the road, it's tough to do a show. But I was able to, I appeared on Lisa's show yesterday. We talked for a little while. I'll put a link up in the corner to that interview so you can catch up on what I was saying there. I think it went pretty well. We covered a number of different topics, so it's a pretty good conversation. Also, we've been talking about the other channel that Lisa and I are doing. I'll be pointing that out later on, the Very Dow channel. And geez, what else do we get? Well, so many odds and ends to catch up on. Oh, I'm actually going to be doing an interview with Rice Crypto today. So there's lots going on. And of course, next week, Shitcoin and Bitcoin 2022 down in Miami. Be there for all week speaking at Shitcoin. Pains me to say it a little bit, but that's the name of the conference. So there we go. So I do have my AMA this week for Patreons. It's almost the last day. Today's Tuesday, so it'll be tomorrow night. I think it's 8 Eastern. We'll do it, and that basically wraps up the month. And then April 1st will be a special video for me for the anniversary of my for the channel and my website. I launched this channel April 1st. I can't believe it's been a year. What a wild ride it's been. Wouldn't change much of anything, but I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed talking to you guys and building this audience and getting more and more opportunities, it seems like, every week to go out there and just share what I know. And people want to hear people want to hear when I just talk, which is kind of surreal, but entertaining and energizing at the same time. But when you go out to these meetups and you sit there and you're sitting there with Lisa and Clint Westwood and Divi Daddy and Bitcoin Ben and all these different people, you just see like camaraderie that we have now for how we all came together, and it's an amazing thing that we do. So it's really energizing to go out. I really recommend that you, if at all possible, find a meetup, find whatever you can. And if you are in the Miami area for the next week, Shitcoin 2022 is pretty cheap to get into. It really is. And I'm not shilling it at all, but I'm just telling you, if you want to be around like-minded people and you can get down to Miami for those couple of days, I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday next week. I would really highly recommend it. Not just as I'm speaking there, just because I think that anytime you can associate yourself, again, I talk about the fractured world that we talk about, and Lisa and I talked about that a lot. It's, anywhere from how we communicate to how we even meet up, it's very fractured right now. So if you can go and make the time and go out and just have a group meeting, have dinner with a few people that talk crypto, and you won't just talk crypto. You talk about what's going on in the world, and we'll talk about a little bit about Russia and Bitcoin and so on. But we'll get to the title of the video, I promise. I will talk about how Bitcoin goes to zero, because it is a question that people are asking me about, and I'm going to explain a little bit after I share a few things in a moment. But I just wanted to clear the deck of a few things. So I mentioned the AMA. There's not going to be an AMA next week because of travel, and then talked about the April 1st video, which will be a special video with couple my favorite outtake for the past year, and also a couple of videos of Patrick and I entertaining ourselves and quite the crowd in Oklahoma. Almost said Texas. In Oklahoma, they're very similar. Oklahoma City, which was it was a great event that we went to, and that's basically it. So let me just jump in, start sharing my screen, and let's talk about what's going on in Bitcoin, and then we'll build from there. So before I go any further into talking about why everyone's concerned about Bitcoin potentially going to zero and what's been happening with Bitcoin lately, first I wanted to share this briefly with you, which is the Veritasium DAO channel. And as you can see from the images that are popping up, Lisa Davis, Litecoin Lisa, and I have been able to interview Reggie over on that channel for the last week or so. Lisa couldn't join me in the second interview, but I was able to get Reggie into some very interesting questions and discussions this week. We'll see how much we get done this week or two before we head down to Miami. But this particular video that came out yesterday, discusses the token supply and the fungibility and use case, which is really an interesting topic. A lot of the questions get answered here, and we're putting out videos. We're giving snippets Monday through Friday, and the full interviews on Saturday. That's the plan for the first 2 weeks. See how it goes. We're attempting to do a couple more interviews before I head back down to Miami for a week next week. So it's a very jam-packed week. But let's get back to the story of what I wanted to talk about today, which is the fact that Bitcoin jumped up over the weekend. This always seems to happen whenever I'm on travel. So Bitcoin jumped up over the weekend. And the reasons everybody's speculating as to why. There was a couple of reasons. First off, we had the story from Russia that they were considering selling its oil and gas for Bitcoin, which that's certainly like a legitimate opportunity for them. And it makes a lot of sense. I know that they were talking about deals with the rest of the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. I think India was one of the main proponents of potentially doing it this way. So that's one of the potential reasons why there was a big buy on Sunday. There was a huge buy on Sunday. I think it was $28 billion worth of Bitcoin was purchased. And there was also there's also questions about Luna. So Luna is buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. And this was the first story about it, which was back in the end of March. But they're trying to buy. What they're doing is they're backing their new stablecoin, UST, not USDT, not True USD, not USDC, UST. You have to be certain that you understand the distinction. This is a stablecoin that they're going to be backed by Bitcoin. It's the first of its kind, which could lead to more demand and certainly better other people adopting this type of answer. So there's lots of things going on in the marketplace right now. Lots of people are wondering and speculating why, but what I'm going to talk about next. So US, the other one, this is Crypto Globe. I'm not usually used to that site, but UST to become the first internet currency to implement a Bitcoin standard, says Terra, co-founder Do Kwon. So Luna, this is positive for Luna. This is a positive for UST. It's the first stable coin that's being backed by Bitcoin, which means as the value of Bitcoin goes up, they will need less Bitcoin to back their UST. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to start talking about what this all means. So piecing it all together, what does it all mean? It means that there's lots of demand for Bitcoin, and people are wondering where it's coming from. But what this will mean, and I'm going to get to the title, I promise. But as the demand for Bitcoin goes up for whatever reason, it could be other countries adopting it, it could be having to purchase things in Bitcoin, it could be backing a stablecoin with Bitcoin. All those are going to create more demand for Bitcoin. So when there's more demand for Bitcoin, we've already seen that. You probably heard me say it, and other channels say it too. There's the demand for Bitcoin is high, and the exchanges, they don't have much Bitcoin. They just don't. They have like less than 25% of the entire circulating supply. They used to get a lot of coins from miners who are no longer selling because they're borrowing against it. And I think over 75% of Bitcoin now is held in private wallets. It's not on exchanges, which reduces the liquidity. So let's just call it, for simplicity, let's just call it that there's 20 million Bitcoin. And we know they lost some and so on and so forth. So let's just say there's 20 million Bitcoin. That would mean there would only be less than 5 million Bitcoin available on the market if they were all in the markets. So when a big purchase comes in, like, $28 billion, we're buying like 50,000, 60,000 Bitcoin, the demand, the supply shock can hit pretty hard. And pretty soon, what people are talking about with Bitcoin going to zero, what's going to happen is that there's going to be so much pent up demand. There's going to be so much demand in the marketplace to go get Bitcoin that over the counters are not going to be able to get it. Exchanges aren't going to be able to get it. And you may even see Bitcoin delisted in a matter of speaking, where Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, Binance US, they all basically say, we're under maintenance and we can't get you Bitcoin. And that's not great, obviously, for the marketplace. But what that means is technically, you could say, in a matter of speaking, that Bitcoin's going to zero. So because it's going to be what they call unobtainium, which I think is also in Cliff High's data sets. But I've been using that phrase for a while. And so if you see other channels talking about Bitcoin going to zero, what they mean is that it becomes unobtainium. And that just means that you can't get it. The exchanges are just shutting down for maintenance because they can't get Bitcoin. They can't create a supply, which is going to create some shock for the system. And I know that Big Spear has been saying this for a while. I know other channels have talked about it, but when Coinbase can't get Bitcoin to sell, they can't list a price. And then because there's bots that work out between the two, all the exchanges to try to keep the prices even between all the different exchanges, so there's no arbitrage. That's what they're doing. They're doing that, and they're putting it all together. And if they can't do that, the only concern I have I don't have a major concern, because if you have your Bitcoin off the exchanges, which you should all do that, that's one of the main rules and main tenets of cryptocurrency. You don't want to have anything on exchanges unless you're going to make an active trade. So get it off the exchanges. As demand increases, which we're seeing across the globe for many reasons, don't be surprised if these sites shut down. So the only concern I have there's going to be concern and panic in the streets and among crypto investors. But if you understand what's going on, you realize that yes, it went to zero, but I only have one or two. I have two concerns. One, you need to get your coins off the exchanges. That's a basic one. Number two, I think we need to be a little concerned about sites that do asset-backed lending. I don't think that Nexo or Celsius are going to have issues with this, because you will be able to find a Bitcoin price somewhere, even if it's on a decentralized exchange like Uniswap. Something will be out there to give you a price of Bitcoin and versus a stable coin somewhere out there. But you could be going back to, well, if the exchanges are all down here, like for anyone that's been in crypto in the last 5 years, that's going to be a major shock to the system. It's like, well, where do I get my Bitcoin now? There'll still be prices on ATMs. There'll be oracles like Chainlink and Band and other ones out there. They'll still be listing Bitcoin prices. So it'll be out there. It'll just not be in your face as much, because CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap may have issues getting reasonable prices for it because exchanges are down. So that's what we're talking about when Bitcoin goes to zero. It's not, the value of Bitcoin does not go to zero. The availability of a price in dollars goes almost to zero. So it's that because the exchanges will be down. So just want to alleviate some fears there. But again, last 2 points, same 2 points as earlier, get your coins off the exchange, and also be sure, be careful with have spare Bitcoin, of course, with supporting Nexo. And again, I've done the Nexo series. I'll post it up here again at some point in the video. But I've got a 5-part series on Nexo, which is really a series on using Bitcoin to borrow against it. It could be Nexo, it can be Celsius, it could be any asset-backed loan process that you have, or any site that you want to use as an option. There's several of them out there. So I don't think there's going to be major concerns, but I think there's going to be a lot of panic, unnecessary panic. But just hang in there; it'll work itself out. So, lots said today. Again, I have my AMA tomorrow night for my Patreons. I talked earlier about all things going on in Miami, and I'm actually doing an interview with next hour with Rice Crypto. So there's lots going on. But I don't think I'll have time to talk to Reggie this week because it's just so jam-packed before I head back out on travel. But I'll get back into regular schedule things. And of course, I'll have that special series that starts next week that I'll air while I'm in Florida. So stay tuned for all that. And again, on Friday, as I mentioned earlier, you'll be seeing a certain special guy, which let me share one picture. I will share one picture with you guys. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. So to give you a hint of the flavor that we're going to have for the Friday show, I'm going to share a little bit of this guy and myself while we were down in not Texas, but Oklahoma. And we went to a particular location, which was not exactly our element by any means, but we had a great time. Patrick, of course, got a cowboy hat. As you can see, he borrowed that one. But I will be sharing 2 special videos on Friday, and I'll be sharing my favorite blooper clip as well. So stay tuned for all that for Friday. And again, that's the 1-year anniversary of my site. So it'll be a special video for that. Be 2 videos of Patrick and I, acting like we act when we go out on tour, I'll call it. And also my favorite blooper for the past year. So stay tuned for all that. Lots said today. I'm going to close the drawer in the bureau and say follow the leader one more time, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.